Are you looking for the best drone for travel? Let's talk about the new Mavic Air 2. Hey guys, Chris from Stoked for Travel here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss out on any awesome video goodness. Now today we're going to be talking about one of my new favorite travel gadgets, the DJI Mavic Air 2. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, whether you should upgrade from the original Air, and how good it is after 2 weeks of testing on the road. So yeah, let's get started. First things first, let's talk about what is new with the Mavic Air 2. Now the first thing you're going to notice about the Mavic Air 2 is the fact it has a complete redesign from the original Mavic Air. In fact, it now looks more like a Mavic Pro than the original Mavic Air itself. On the design front as well, the controller has had a complete revamp. Your phone now sits in the top and it's actually a much larger controller, but more about that later. But one of the main reasons the controller is now so much bigger and had a redesign is OcuSync 2.0, which gives your drone up to 10 kilometers of range and massively improves the signal quality. Under the hood, there's been heaps of tech spec bumps as well, including a larger half-inch sensor, your battery life, which is now a whopping 34 minutes of flight time, which is nearly double what the original Mavic Air was. You can shoot 4K at 60 frames a second, which is one of the main reasons I personally upgraded to the Mavic Air 2. Other tech spec wise, you can now shoot 1080 at a whopping 240 frames a second, 8K hyperlapses, 48 megapixel photos, HDR video, and there's heaps of other things that have been upgraded as well, including active track and things like that. There are heaps of other spec bumps with the Mavic Air 2 and changes, but those are the main things I point out if you're looking at the Mavic Air 2 as the best drone for travel. So yeah, if you want more information on all the tech bumps, check out the link in the description below. Even though I've been massively stoked with the Mavic Air, why have I upgraded to the new Mavic Air 2? Well, after 2 years of travel with the original Mavic Air, it has helped me capture some incredible moments on the road, from the Mentawai to South Africa, Philippines and Australia. Now the Mavic Air 2 though takes things to the absolute next level and is, in my opinion, one of the best drones for travel right now. 4K at 60 frames a second is one of the major reasons I have upgraded. It allows you to create those super slow-mo action shots from the air, which is incredible and now syncs up with my other range of cameras. Not only that, but the absolute massive bump in battery life of up to 34-minute flight time gives you heaps of time to create the content that you want, especially when you're doing action photography or want to get big landscapes or things like that where you need that little bit more time in the air. In fact, it's nearly double the battery life of the Mavic Air and is a huge jump in terms of tech specs. Now the other reason I upgraded was the new OcuSync 2.0 as well. Now the signal on the Mavic Air has been really good, but there have been times where it's not been that reliable, especially when you're bumping between different locations or you've got other interference in the area such as telecommunications towers or even granite rocks around cliffs and things. The new OcuSync 2.0 promises a much more controlled and reliable experience and is another reason why I really wanted to upgrade. So after testing out the new Mavic Air 2 here in Australia for the last couple of weeks, what are my first impressions of this epic travel drone? Well, one of the first things I noticed was how smooth and reliable it is in the air. It's so responsive and stable and really quiet as well with that new upgraded propeller system. On the build quality side of things as well, the new controller is absolutely awesome to fly with and feels super solid in your hands. Having the phone mounted at the top of the remote is actually way more intuitive and makes it much easier to fly and control. Now, of course, the battery life is one of the huge things you'll notice as well, with up to 34 minutes of flight time. Now, this nearly doubles what the original Air is and makes shooting much easier. You can take it out much further and capture those epic shots that you wouldn't be able to do before. On a side note as well, I'm really liking the new Fly More combo bag as well. It's built much more rugged than the original Fly More combo for the original Air. It's laid out really well and the build quality is solid, so no doubt that's going to last a lot longer. Of course, 4K at 60 frames a second, being able to suddenly shoot and get those super slow-mo shots is absolutely epic, and when you get back into Final Cut Pro, gives you that much more choices and creativity with your shots. Now, despite the Mavic Air 2 being slightly bigger than the original Mavic Air at 570 grams versus 430 grams. I didn't actually notice that much difference when carrying it around either, and it packs down nicely into my kit bag. So yeah, if you're worried about the size spec and the controller being much bigger, don't worry about it. You'll barely notice it at all. Now, when it comes to buying the new Mavic Air 2, you've got two main options at checkout. You can go for the drone only, which comes with a drone, a single battery, and the remote, or you can go for the Fly More combo. Now, the Fly More combo, as it is named, it does allow you to fly more. And for an extra $189, you get $495 worth of extra kit. Now, the most notable part of this Fly More combo is the fact you get 2 extra batteries. So in total, you get over 90 minutes of fly time. So if you are traveling, having those 3 batteries charged in your bag allows you to capture that much more footage in a single go. Now, alongside that, you also get the carry bag, which is great. It packs everything down really nicely and makes it really handy to travel with. You can chuck that in your day bag, your carry-on bag, or take it as a standalone satchel. There are extra things as well in the Fly More combo, including a set of ND filters, spare propellers, your triple battery charging unit, and a few extra bits. But yeah, well worth the extra investment at your initial purchase point for all that extra gear. So as much as I absolutely love the new Mavic Air 2, there are some negatives to it as well, which you must address to keep this thing all nice and balanced. Obviously, when it comes to travel drone, the Mavic Air 2 is a bit bigger than the Mavic Air and of course the Mavic Mini as well. Now, the size difference is both on the drone and also on the controller, so it's something to keep in mind. Now, on paper, these differences do look a lot bigger than they appear in real life, and honestly, I don't think you'll notice that much of a difference when using it with traveling. It is important to point out though, as it is not the smallest travel drone option out there. So if size and weight are of massive importance to you, maybe the original Mavic Air or even the Mavic Mini might be a great choice. When it comes to drone design, the other negative I find is actually with the gimbal cover. Now, the original Mavic Air had a great gimbal cover, super easy to clip on and off. But the Mavic Air 2 goes back to the bobble style one of the Mavic Pro series, which I find really fiddly, and I could see myself easily damaging the camera and of course the gimbal by putting it on incorrectly. So I hope that this is something a third party will readdress and I can get a better one for it soon. Another downside as well is with the Fly More combo rather than with the drone, and it comes down to the ND filters. Now, the ND filters including the Fly More combo are a 16, a 32 and a 256. Now, these allow you lots of creative options when it comes to night lapses, time lapses and long exposures. But for the average user, I think an ND8 filter would be much more useful, and it's something I'm still going to have to invest in on top. So that's something to keep in mind as well. One other small gripe I have with the Mavic Air 2 is the fact it uses the DJI Fly app. Now, the original Mavic Air uses the Mavic Go 4 app, which gave you a lot of tweaks behind the scenes and allows you to control a few extra functions within the drone. Now, by using the DJI Fly app, the Mavic Air 2 has removed a couple of these tweaks, and it's something I noticed quite quickly. First one I noticed was the fact you lose control over the yaw settings, which is how the camera pans and tilts while you're flying it and filming, which tends to give you a much more cinematic effect. So yeah, you don't have those controls anymore, which is a bit unfortunate. The other thing I noticed quite quickly as well was the fact you can no longer disable the landing sensors on the Mavic Air 2. Now, on the original Mavic Air, I had those always disabled because it made it great for hand catching the drone, which is great if you're flying on beaches or off of boats or anywhere you can't land it super simply. Having those sensors disabled allows you to quickly catch out of the air and power it down. Now, having those sensors still on there means the drone does hover for a second and then lands into your hand, which if it's a bit windy or you need to quickly catch it because you're on uneven ground or even a boat or anything like that, is a bit annoying. So yeah, I'm hoping DJI will upgrade the app soon with a software update and we'll get those settings back. Now, my final negative of the Mavic Air 2 is a little bit more technical, but bear with me because it is a quite important factor to keep in mind. Now, the Mavic Air 2 only comes with one IMU on board. Now, for those of you who don't know, the IMU is what basically keeps the drone in the air and under control. Without it, it would fly away uncontrollably and your remote would have no idea where it was. The original Mavic Air had two IMUs, so a backup one just in case the first one fails. However, presumably to keep cost and weight down, the new Mavic Air 2 only has a single IMU on board, so you don't have a failsafe. Now, obviously tech has come along and they are obviously a bit more reliable, but not having a backup in there and a failsafe is a puzzling move by DJI. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Ultimately though, when it comes to the negatives, they are far outweighed by the positives of the Mavic Air 2, and it's an incredible upgrade from the original Mavic Air. So why is the new Mavic Air 2 the ultimate drone for travel? Well, basically all the reasons I've run through already. 4K at 60 frames a second allows you to capture that epic footage and slow it down. You've got that amazing 34 minutes of flight time. And of course, if you've got the fly mode combo, that's over 90 minutes of fly time in a single pack. You can shoot that 48 megapixel photos. You've got 1080p at 240 frames a second. OcuSync 2.0 gives you that much more stable video connection and 10 kilometers worth of flight radius. Basically everything DJI have packed into the Mavic Air 2 makes it perfect for travel. Now of course the Mavic Air is still an awesome drone, but they've taken everything that I loved about it, beefed it up and made it much better. Of course the slight trade-off is a slightly bigger remote and a slightly bigger drone size and weight, but ultimately that is not a deal breaker and you'll barely notice in your kit bag. So yeah, if you're looking for the ultimate drone for travel, DJI Mavic Air 2 is an absolutely epic choice. So that's it for this week, guys. If you do have any more questions about the Mavic Air 2, make sure you drop them in the comments. I'll make sure I'll respond to them. And of course, you can read my full written review of the Mavic Air 2 and the ultimate drones for travel by checking out the links in the description. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Yoo!